Hey everyone, Soundwave 8084 here. In this episode of Fans Picks, we're going to reveal the results of the poll I asked you last week, and then we're just going to talk briefly about what led up to this poll, and then I'm going to ask you the new question for next week's Fans Picks episode. So let's start off with how we got to this poll. This poll is 1980s versus 2020s. Which decade has given us the best Transformers toys? Or figures, however you want to put it. Collectibles. There you go. Originally, I asked which decade was the best for Transformers. Now, YouTube limits the amount of polls, like options I can put. I couldn't fit 2020s on there. So I did 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. 80s won, of course. I think 2010s was close behind. And then someone did comment, and which was true, that doing it by decades necessarily isn't the best way to gauge which figures are the best. You need to do it by eras. And yes, I did think about that, but that's a lot more options. So you got to have G1. In the beginning of G1, it's a lot different than the end of G1. So you pretty much have to probably break G1 into two halves. That's just based on how I feel about G1. And G2, again, is a rehash of some G1 and then some new figures thrown in. Then you got Beast Wars, and you have to try to figure out how to break it in all the movie lines. How do you go and break it the Chugs? You got Classics, Universe, you got the Generations, then you got the Red Carded, Reveal the Shield. You got all this stuff. You got to break it in. I was like, this is a lot of options. That's something you could do in a bracket tournament. So that could be a video down the line where I make a bracket and do something like that. So 1980s won in the polling that I could do. Then 2020s. I put 1980s versus the 2020s to see which one is the best. And we have an overwhelming winner. I thought the 80s with the nostalgia and the nostalgia glasses would be, the clear-cut winner. But no, the 2020s slapped the 1980s down, made the 1980s its bitch. And this is the results here of the polling over on Instagram, where I only got about 50 votes there, though, because I do it on the little stories. Only last 24 hours. I do highlight it and put it on my profile page, but not everyone really goes there and votes and stuff, sees all that. So it's only up for a short amount of time. It takes a while before things get noticed, and that stuff really gets cluttered up there anyway. So Instagram, 1980s got 21% of the vote, and then the 2020s got 79% of the vote. So overwhelmingly 2020s there on Instagram. Now over on YouTube, I did get 235 votes there. In the 1980s, only garnered 19% of the vote, whereas the 2020s garnered 81% of the vote. So almost equal there. It's just off by 2 percentage points from one to the other. So both pretty much about the exact same. So you could say 20% for the 80s and then 80% for the 2020s. So out of about 285 votes. So not close at all. 2020s smacked down the 1980s. Which, based on articulation and engineering, I can see that in sculpting details. Now that it looks like stuff you grew up with from your childhood, whether it's G1 or maybe even like RID 2001, Beast Wars, stuff like that. Things look a little bit closer. Good engineering. There are other problems though with the yellowing of plastic, which is something that is can be fixed, because that's just like a mistake on their end on that for it to yellow that fast. So hopefully that was course corrected. Even G1 toys, broke, had hollow parts, were gappy. They're pretty much statues, bricks, stuff like that. So they're not the greatest in the world either, but they were what we had back then. Overall, the best decade so far for Transformer toys, based on youth, my viewers, is the 2020s. So don't get mad at me. I put these poll up. I didn't vote in it. Maybe I did. Maybe I did vote in all this, but my one vote did not sway it this badly. So 2020 is overwhelming the best decade so far for Transformer toys. All right, so I'm going to ask the question for next week. I've actually already asked this question, and probably about a month ago. So if you go to my community tab and if you want to scroll down, if you haven't voted in this yet, you can go vote there. So pretty much the size matter. With the talk of Age of the Prime, Superion, Studio Series 86 Devastator coming soon, what scale do you prefer your Hasbro Takara mainline combiners at? The 12 to 13 inches we get from the original Combiner Wars, Power of the Primes, Titan Returns, and Legacy Minosaur? Or do you prefer the Power of the Primes, Combiner Horrors, 18-inch scale Predaking Devastator, and say like the oversized KO of Combiner Horrors, Superion from, I think it's Jujang. Don't kill me in the comments if I mispronounced that. They're all about 18 inches tall. So which scale do you prefer? The 12 to 13-inch combiner or the 18-inch combiners? This is for mainline Hasbro Takara Tomy releases, not Masterpiece or Legends. I know those are totally different scales, and a lot of people prefer the Masterpiece combiners. They're usually about, what, 22 inches or so, 20, 22. They're bigger. And the only thing now with them scaling down, a lot of the combiners through Series 86 Devastator is going to be about, the 13-inch height. We got the new Superion coming out next year. Do you feel they need to redo Omega Supreme? We have about the 20-inch tall Titan class from Siege. Do we need to get a new Omega? Omega is a lot bigger. He's not that much bigger in the cartoon. In the Sunbow Holy scale chart, or should I say the Holy Sunbow scale chart, he's probably, in the cartoon, he's always about, a little bit bigger than Devastator. So really, 14, 15 inches would get you an Omega Supreme. Do we need to scale that sucker down? Do we need a new Omega Supreme? Anyway, you can let me know which scale combiner works for you, or that you prefer, or is your favorite, down in the comments below, or head over to my community tab and vote in that poll. And I'll probably post this up on my Instagram sometime today or tomorrow, and this will be answered next week. Anyway, thanks for watching. The next one. Peace out.